money.
In this video, I'm going to go over how I trade with Delta. I don't have any signals on the chart. I've just got my favorite key levels, and I'm checking out the Delta for the 1 minute and the 5 minute. I'll show you the settings later on in the video. You're also going to see every entry and exit. I've got some playback data loaded. This is the price action from Friday morning. So the market is about to open in 10 seconds. So we've got a yellow inside of the candle right here. This is single bar divergence. So when this happens, I'm looking for a break below or above. Maybe not right at the open, but we did get a healthy break above and a nice pop up there. You can see as we were coming down, Delta was increasing. And even though this candle closed to the downside, we had positive Delta. So that is single bar divergence. I've got the ultimate delta painting the candle gold if there is single bar divergence. The ultimate delta is also painting the candles either pink or light green or a bolder shade of green or red when there is some stronger bullish or bearish delta coming in. So in this setup, I'm looking for price action. I'm looking at the shape of the candle. You can see this previous 5 minute candle. We had a pretty big full body candle to the downside. So to me, this 5 minute candle is a little bit bearish. On this previous 1 minute candle, we've got a big top wick. We've got point of control up into the wick. That is also looking pretty bearish, but it's just the first minute of the New York Open. So I'm gonna wait and see what happens here. So this next 1 minute candle, total mixed bag. We got wicks on both sides. That means it rejected to the upside, rejected to the downside, just got stuck in the middle. Point of control is up in the wick, in the top wick, but two basically equal wicks on both sides. So very indecisive at the moment. We had positive delta on the first candle, negative delta on the second candle. Something I'm noticing on the 5 minute is we have a lot of positive delta coming in on the ES. The top number is the delta for the NQ. The bottom number is the delta number for the ES 5 minute time frame. You can see we're getting a pop up here. We got a lot of key levels in the way, so I'd want to see it break above this last cluster of key levels. This is some 50% wicks levels from the MMT 50/50. We just rejected right off of this double wicks level. It was also right at whole number. Still have about a minute before this 5 minute candle closes. So this 1 minute candle just closed. Huge top wick, point of control up into the wick. So the price action is bearish, but we've got a pretty big top wick on the delta as well. And it looks like this 5 minute candle might be closing with a big top wick and point of control up into the wick. So I'd say if we can break below 34 here, below this recent low, we got enough room down to the next key levels here. So I'm looking for a price to break the low, and I'm going to try to get out right around this area of key levels. All right, we're in the trade. I've got my stop right above this last cluster of key levels. I like to put my stops behind clusters of key levels or recent highs or lows. That filled me so fast I didn't even need to adjust anything. And you see we're getting some rejection down here right off of the 250 SMA. We've got another cluster down here, yesterday's point of control, and then we've got VWAP below that. So this candle with the huge top wick, point of control up in the wick, really set things off. A lot of top wicks on 4 of the candles this morning, with point of control up in all of these wicks. And then we got that move down. On this last 5 minute candle, not only did we have a top wick, point of control up in the wick, but we also had some single bar divergence. So when this happens, I'm looking for a break below the low or a break above the high of the single bar divergent candle. You can see we broke below the low there, 35 down to 12, that's 23 points. Now we're getting a bottom wick starting to form about halfway through this candle. Point of control down into the wick. And I just missed this 1 minute candle. This is a great candle. We have single bar divergence right there, the yellow inside of the candle. We've got a big bottom wick with point of control down into the wick. It's wicking right off of the 250 SMA. in this cluster of key levels. So I'd be looking for a breakout above the high or a break below the low. We got a break above the high there. We had a lot of positive delta coming in, and we just popped up over 20 points right to the 20 SMA where we're getting a little bit of holdup. So right now I'm waiting to see if this down move is going to resume and this is just a pullback, or if we're going to start to close above the 20 SMA here, potentially move higher, maybe retest this recent high. We've got about 30 seconds before this 5-minute candle closes. On this last 1-minute candle, we had a decent bottom wick there, a bigger bodied candle to the upside. We ended up getting some continuation there. Right back to this cluster of key levels here with the previous day VWAP close and a 50% wicks level. And the last 5-minute candle was bullish, slightly bullish. But the price action on this last 5-minute candle, big bottom wick, totally indecisive morning. We have a big top wick on the first 5-minute candle, big bottom wick on the second 5-minute candle. So I'm thinking if we break above either the high of this first 5-minute candle or below the low of the second, might get a move. I want to see it break above this cluster of key levels. So if we do get the break, I want it to break above this last cluster of key levels here. Then I have enough room up to the next key level for my 10-point target. Ideally, I do not want to have any kind of key levels in the way of my take profit, and I want to move my stops behind big clusters of key levels and recent highs and recent lows. All right, so these key levels held again, at least for a little bit. Now we're in the trade. I like my stop where it was, right below pre-market center. Another pretty much instantaneous fill. We had some decent positive delta coming through on the 5-minute, and also this prior 1-minute candle, we had stronger bullish delta. I've got it set up so that anytime the 1-minute NQ delta is above 100, it prints this bolder shade of green. If it's below, it prints the lighter shade. And same with the red and the pink. So we are approaching this next area of key levels, but so far the delta is coming in strong. I'm looking at the NQ and the ES on the 5-minute. The ES is pretty strong. So I wasn't super interested in a bounce trade right there in that moment, but it did bounce down off of this next cluster of key levels. Just bounced down about 15 points. Now we've got a bottom wick starting to form on this 1-minute candle. We got point of control down into the wick. The delta is increasing. And now I'm looking at the delta on the 5-minute. Look at the ES delta. It is screaming up over 2200 on the ES 5-minute delta. There's no more key levels in the way until 2780. I kind of like the idea of along here. There's no key levels in the way until yesterday's New York Open. This 4-hour 50% level. As we're moving up, we are getting some delta divergence. You can see the single bar divergence. The candle is yellow. So even though price is moving up, delta is moving down. So if there wasn't so much incredibly strong delta coming in on the ES there, I might consider a bounce trade off of yesterday's New York Open. We did get a nice hold up there. Just popped down 10 points or so. All right, this 5-minute candle just closed. Say if we can break above these key levels, might push up to 24,800 where 3-day VWAP is hanging out. Look at the price action on this candle, full-bodied candle to the upside, hardly any wicks. Tons of positive delta on the ES and decently strong on the NQ. So I was just about to move my stop up. Having my stop below this cluster of key levels would be too far away. So with the single bar divergent candle, I'm looking for a break above the high or a break below the low of the single bar divergent candle. And in this case, since we had this double cluster of key levels, I wanted to see it break above this cluster of key levels. So we just got a nice rejection off of 3-day VWAP. It's also a whole number. We got a little bit of a top wick, point of control up into the wick. We got some negative delta coming in. Starting to pick up decently strong on the ES to the downside, negative 700. I think I'm going to wait and see how this 1-minute candle finishes here. Got about 10 seconds left. I like having my time charts. I like knowing when the candle is going to be fully formed. So This is kind of bullish, if anything. We got a big bottom wick, point of control down into the wick, but delta is definitely dropping off here. The ES delta is starting to pick up pretty heavy to the downside. NQ is getting very strong. We just broke below the low of this last 1 minute candle. I'm gonna go for a short. I'm gonna put my stop above this point of control right there. It doesn't move pretty quick, I'm gonna hop out, but look at all the negative delta on the ES coming in. And this last 1 minute candle, look at the price action, very full bodied candle to the downside. Strong negative delta on the NQ there. All right, well, I don't like that. Came pretty close to my take profit and popped up a little bit, but I'm still looking at the delta. This is keeping me feeling okay about the trade. Negative 1300, negative 1500. There's the fill. So I think 4 different trades so far this morning for 10 points each. Now we're coming down to this cluster of key levels. So I would not want to get short right at this cluster. Maybe if we broke lower and had strong negative delta. So those are some of the things that I'm looking for when I'm trading with delta and volume, looking for the point of control of the volume for each candle. The different things that I'm looking for with price action as far as big bottom wicks or top wicks or full body candles, and the importance of different key levels that I have on my chart and the ways that I'm looking to trade between them. So let me show you the settings for the 1 minute chart. I've got the free bar status timer from NINZA. There are links in the description if you're interested in that. I've got the MMT Ultimate POC showing me the point of control where the most volume occurred on each candle. I've got the Ultimate VWAP on the chart. I've got the 20 and the 250 SMA. I've got the MMT 50/50 with default settings showing me 50% levels and also 50% wicks levels from several different time frames, including the 1 hour, 4 hour, and daily time frames. I've got the built-in pivot points. I've got the MMT key levels on the chart. I've got the ultimate delta on the chart. I've got the delta candles paint bars activated, not the outlines, just the bars, the inside of the candle. I've got level 1 activated, and on the 1 minute NQ chart, I'm using a level of 100. And if you want to figure out what is the best level for the instrument or the time frame that you trade, just load a week's worth of data, look at the time frames that you like to trade, and look at the histogram for those previous days during that particular time frame, and just see where the delta histogram is hitting and see how price is reacting. So looking at the histogram back over time, specifically during the time frames that you like to trade, that will help give you a good idea on what to set these different levels at. I've also got the level colors applied to the histogram. I'm not using any of the signals except for single bar divergence. And I've just got it painting the bar color, not the outline. So it's painting the inside of the candle gold when there is single bar divergence. So this candle closed down, but it had positive delta. So we've got the single bar divergence right there. I've got the extra levels in the flux map, which are not quite available yet. There was a glitch on WAP and I am unable to upload the overview videos. So as soon as I get all that figured out, these 2 indicators will be available. I've got the market maker giving me these big buy and sell chart buttons on the chart. And then I didn't even mention it, but I've got the MMT Ultimate Heiken Ashi on the chart. I'm only using the trend feature with default settings. I changed the colors to green and dark red, and it's just painting the outline, not the bars. So you can see on the outline of the candle, I've got this green color when the Heiken Ashi is bullish, and then I've got this dark red color for the outline when the Heiken Ashi is bearish. On the 5 minute chart, I've got the bar status, ultimate VWAP, 20 and 250 SMA, the ultimate delta, the ultimate Heiken Ashi, ultimate POC, all with the same settings, except the ultimate delta has 300 for the level 1. And then I've also got the MMT flow stack, and I am not using any of the amazing features of the flow stack except for the delta above candles. I've got 1 extra instrument enabled. I've got the ES 5 minute enabled. So I've got the delta for the NQ and then the ES right below it. That's all that I'm using the flow stack for. It's a very simple setup with no signals, just monitoring delta and price action and key levels. And I've also got my higher time frame 60-minute chart. So those are the settings and a lot of the things that I'm looking for when I'm placing trades. I appreciate you taking the time to tune in. There are links to all of the MMT indicators in the description. Anyone that's out there using code MonkeyMan at Lucid or Apex, Take Profit Trader, Tradeify, or TradeDay, thanks so much for your support. And a very special thank you to everyone that left a comment in yesterday's video to enter for the Lucid 50K trading evaluation account. I did pick a winner. So if you did not get any kind of email reply from me, best of luck next time. Hopefully that will happen again at some point in the future. But thanks to everyone who participated. I wish you best of luck in your trading. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.